All right, laugh for me one more time. All right, perfect.
Good.
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 Well, hello and welcome to Cinema Double Shot. I'm Wallace McKelvey, a journalist and filmmaker, and today, back in our office abode with all of the spooky gremlins, I have
Another
Josh.
spooky gremlin.
My favorite spooky gremlin.
Oh,
Josh Dorsheimer, an actor, an educator, a writer, a director, you name it.
back by unpopular demand.
I mean, I don't know that I've gotten any hate mail
Oh.
about you or anybody else,
Oh,
fortunately.
well,
but that's
good.
not an invitation. If you don't like something, keep it to yourself.
Oh. I mean, that could be fun, though. I've always wanted a merry band of stalkers.
Oh, don't invite. The internet is a strange, dark place.
So, what are we talking about at this very
Well,
late hour?
The Academy Award nominations will have been released probably by the time I'm done editing this and have it up on YouTube and Spotify and all the best streaming platforms. So, in honor of that, it's that time of year again.
What time of year is that?
It's the time of year for the Wallys.
The Wallys!
And
And?
what's your awards called?
Oh, I guess they're the Snotties. That's what they were last year.
The welcome to the Wallys and the Snotties.
The Snotties that is derived from my name at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, Snodgrass.
Yes, your nickname that you earned because someone hijacked your Facebook account.
Correct, but we don't need to talk about that here. That's too embarrassing.
And the Wallys because of me. That's my name. It's not that creative.
No.
Well, thank you. The first bit of constructive criticism tonight.
No. I didn't mean it. I was gonna continue that thought. I was gonna be like, no, but it's your name, and you have a great name, and you should use your name. So.
Indeed.
The Joshies just doesn't have a good ring to it.
Oh, Joshy poo.
I know.
I'm imagining someone leaning over you and like squeezing your dimples. You Joshies.
Yeah. So let's cease that. The Wallys.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing the Wallys?
This is the 21st year.
Woohoo! It can legally drink.
Exactly. So a quick backstory, not that anybody asked, but
I just asked.
Okay, there you go. Since Josh asked, I've been doing these since freshman year of undergrad college.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I've been a film nerd basically for as long as there have been VHS tapes in my lifetime. And the year, let's paint a picture. The year was 2005.
Picture it, Sicily.
I still had a dumb phone that I flipped open and texted people. It was actually quite small. It was a very small flip phone, but it got the job done. And I remember it was right after Crash won Best Picture, which, I'll be honest, I don't think Crash was terrible. I think it has flaws, but it wasn't deserving of nearly as much praise as it got. But not a terrible film. But I remember me and my bunch of my college friends were talking about it, and one of them was like, well, what would you award Best Picture? And I was like, you know what I'd award Best Picture? This tiny South Korean film that no one has seen called Memories of Murder by the director with a funny name, Bong Joon-ho. That Memories of Murder was the very first Wally Best Picture winner.
Excellent, and as it was very much deserved. I quite liked that movie when you showed it to me.
Yeah, well, that movie has gained like more audience as the years have rolled by, and Bong Joon-ho has gotten bigger and bigger budgets too, which I'm happy. It's kind of like, I feel this way about some directors. I don't know if you have any directors like this, where I started following them like quote unquote early in their career, much like an indie rock band, and like I take a certain pride, kind of following their careers, the ups and downs, and increasing budgets and all that jazz.
Yeah, I have a few directors like that.
Who's your director?
Oh, well, one of them you don't like very much, but one of them is Tim Burton.
Oh,
well, now he never had.
He's mostly been on the downhill for the last 2 decades.
We're not going to get into that discussion here. Also, he wasn't an indie
Exhibit
director.
A, Alice in Wonderland. That whatever unholy thing.
And he's somebody that it's the opposite for me. I don't get excited when he gets bigger budgets. I get excited when they give him a smaller project to work on because I think that's when he excels.
Yeah.
So, but as for somebody who like would increasingly maybe get like more and more to do, I don't know if I have anybody because most of my favorite directors, they're always fighting for money.
Well, like John Waters is one where you would think that John Waters has built up enough cachet and recognition and respect, it's basic respect, that you would think John Waters would get a blank check for whatever he wanted to make. And it's not even that John Waters, he doesn't make big budget movies anyway. His biggest movie was probably maybe 20 million, maybe?
Yeah, I think Serial Mom was his biggest budget that he had. But yeah,
And he can't get his movies made. No. Like the story behind his last one, was it
Liarmouth? He's still trying to find funding for it.
He's got Aubrey Plaza in his back pocket, willing to go to bat for him, and yet no one's willing to give him a couple million bucks to make his movie.
Yeah, and it's like TikTok. He's turning 80 this year, I think.
So if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, in 2026, someone needs to fund John Waters' Liarmouth.
Please. Well, that's kind of cool, though. I have to say that the directors I follow also don't get a lot of recognition, but that's just because they make trash. So I never saw them on the Oscars. But I do have a long-standing Oscars tradition. I've been watching the Oscars every year. I started watching it with my grandmother every year until she just couldn't stay up for them anymore because it was too late. But the very first Oscars telecast I watched was, I believe, when Titanic won. So
that was quite a night.
Yeah.
So were you rooting for Titanic?
My grandmother was.
Yeah. What were you rooting for?
To be honest, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I remember just my grandmother loved that movie, so any time that it showed up, she was like, "Ooh, Titanic!"
I mean, she must have been apoplectic with joy because that movie won like 8 Oscars.
Oh yeah, night. It was a good night. So for her anyway. No, it was a good night for me too. I think there was a lot of candy. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I shared this anecdote last year, so it's a little warmed over. I'll run through it quickly. But the very first Oscar telecast that I remember watching was the year that Jurassic Park won. I believe it won 3 Oscars. It went 3 for 3. It was only nominated for 3, but it won all 3 of them, and they were the 2 sound awards and visual effects.
Cool.
Which makes sense, it won all of them, but I remember watching it and being like, well, why the heck isn't it nominated for anything else? You know?
Because of bias.
Yeah, no.
Bias!
It's Jeff Goldblum erasure.
Oh, well, I erased Jeff Goldblum this year with my awards. I really, 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 really wanted to recognize him for Wicked, but there were better things this year. But I still love you, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. Well, at the risk of repeating ourselves, because we went into this a little bit in the last podcast when we had our friend Gabriel over.
Woohoo!
Woohoo, Gabriel!
Yay, Gabriel!
Who's finally getting some of those movies into the local art house theater. It's been a minute. I still need to go see Wagner Moura in The Secret Agent.
Oh, yes, The Sexy Man.
Hopefully it sticks around for more than a week, because this week's been hella busy. But, yeah, it was a good year for movies.
Yes, it was.
I mean, I feel like it always is. Like, people always complain about, oh, the movies aren't what they used to be, or, oh, all the movies in the Cineplex are terrible. But there's lots of great stuff. You just have to scratch and sniff below the surface.
Yeah. There's also a really good, I mentioned this in the last podcast too. I don't see nearly as many movies as you do, but I do try to see as many horror movies as I can. And this year was a really good year for like highfalutin horror movies.
Oh yeah. Elevated.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Elevated. It's about trauma.
Yeah.
No. We're not going to go back to that again.
Trauma. Well, I got to see 135 new movies this year.
Wow.
Yeah. And honestly, like, there's probably, like my ranking is out of 5. At, like, more than half of those movies were at least 4 stars for me.
Nice.
There were lots of great movies and several really masterful films.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you didn't get to see quite as many.
No, but I saw a lot. Actually, it was kind of funny because when I sat down to make my lists for the podcast, I was originally like, oh, this is going to be easy because I didn't see that much. And then I still sat down and I was like, oh no, I can only pick 10 for this. And I can only pick 5 for this. So even not seeing as many movies as you did, there were still a shit ton of movies that I saw this year that I really, really, really liked enough to want to recognize. So it was still a problem. Well, a good problem, but a problem.
Yeah. And so a couple of like housekeeping things before we just launch into it.
A few gentle reminders.
At least for me, I am very loosey-goosey when it comes to release dates. So when with some of my awards, you'll be like, oh wait, I thought that was a 2024 movie. No, because it didn't get released to the average person in 2024. I'm looking at you, Nickel Boys, that got like a blink and you missed it limited release in like December 25th. Yeah. But for most of us, we saw it in February. Any movie like that, like I'm somewhat strict when it comes to like, when was this film actually available to most people, including me? Occasionally I fudge it because life's short, but I'm kind of strict about that one. I also like to spread the wealth around, and so I don't like to just award the same movie all the prizes. And finally, at least for the context of a podcast episode, believe it or not, I have more than 20 categories. And I added a new one this year.
Me too! Are you going to share your new one?
I'm going to share my new one,
Woo.
But I'm not going to share all of them. There are so many people who work on movies that deserve to be recognized. Alas, there's only so much bandwidth in a day, so many hours you can spend podcasting. And right now, believe it or not, it's 10:30 at night. It'll be sleepy time for me very soon. So I'm truncating it and just sharing some of the big marquee categories. That is absolutely no disrespect to the costumers, the production designers, the composers of scores, the sound editors.
The craft service. The
craft services, which is not an award, but Lord, if you want to invite me to your set so I can sample the craft services, heck, I'll do it.
We'll come up with an award for it. Though I'm pretty sure that Susan would beat them every single time.
And then, there's some big ones like hair and makeup, and I'm not going to go through the screenplay awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was tough for me too, but it was tough narrowing it down. So when you were like, oh, we don't need to have that one this time, I was like, whew, because there are too many screenplays I liked.
However,
sorry.
I will be putting the Wallys, as is my tradition, online in their full glory. So for the categories that aren't available on the podcast, you can go to my blog and check out the full listing. And one of the things I love about doing it this way, I like the conversations that it inspires, both like one-on-one with my friend groups, but also online. And it's a fun way to shine a spotlight on movies that don't get recognized as much.
Yeah.
You know, there's some, like, there definitely are some choices on my list that, like, everybody's talking about. But there's also lots of really cool hidden gems that, like, maybe didn't make it to the Best Picture category, but will show up in, you know, cinematography. And I'm like, doing lists like this, list making, it, like, gives you an opportunity to, like, shine a light on stuff that people don't normally watch, and then geek out with other film nerds about it.
I love it. That said, I'm not sharing mine on the internet. I will share them with my friends, and, you know, come at me if you want to hear my opinions, but there are things I've left out of my list because I watch a lot of trash. So, but I'm very much looking forward to going to your website. Your website is Wally Films, yes. Oh no, your blog is different though.
WallyFilms.com. But you know, I've got a website. I'll just share it on my website too.
Woohoo!
That's a thing I can do now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
do we want to
get
on
the show? Yeah.
Without further ado,
the Wallys and the Snotties.
All right, visual effects. Do you want to go first?
All right.
Go for it.
All right. So for my best visual effects nominations, I nominated Bugonia, Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is a deep cut for me this year, but I quite like that movie.
A remake of the classic 80s slasher Christmas movie.
Yes.
It is a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie, and I quite like the remake. Sinners, Weapons, but my winner this year is another possibly deeper cut, released exclusively through Shudder this year, The Ugly Stepsister. I just have one word for you why it won Best Visual Effects, and that word is tapeworm. But, yeah.
Yeah, that was a very cool movie. And it's actually nominated in a different category that I won't get to tonight, but I nominated it in makeup and hairstyling, both for the special effects makeup, because there's lots of fun, gory stuff. It's like a body horror with lots of satire, too.
It's like Fairy Tales meets David Cronenberg, so...
Yeah. But it also has like some really like elaborate... I don't know, what era would you say that's from? Is it Elizabeth?
It's a little after Elizabeth.
Regency?
Yeah, Regency.
It's like
Regency, yeah.
There's lots of really ornate hairstyles.
Bouffant wigs.
In addition to the body horror stuff in that movie. Well, visual effects for me, I tend to go for movies that aren't all like wall-to-wall CG. Mm-hmm. I like to award movies where the visual effects are... They help tell the story, but they aren't the main attraction. They aren't the entree. They're the sauce that you cook the entree in.
The blood. No, sorry.
Sorry, but not the blood, because the blood would be hair and makeup. For me, anyway.
Okay. I was going to say, we're not going to continue.
But for me, my nominees are Die My Love, a great Lynn Ramsey film.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
which has a wonderful final sequence that is juiced with CG. Dust Bunny, which combines both practical effects and CG effects by one of my favorite like TV creators, Brian Fuller, who did Pushing Daisies. That's his directorial debut. Mickey 17 by Bong Joon-ho.
Woohoo!
Shin Godzilla, which is in fitting with my rule about release dates. Shin Godzilla was actually released in Japan in 2016, but it didn't get released in the United States until 2025, believe it or not. And I really love the visual effects in that. It's almost like an impressionist painting. There is a lot of CG, there's also practicals, and it's a beautiful...
And derpy Godzilla!
And derpy Godzilla. It shows the evolution of Godzilla, which is not something I've seen in other Godzilla movies. You get to see Godzilla from, like, baby Godzilla to adolescent, awkward Godzilla to full glory smash Godzilla. I love it. But my winner is Sinners.
Woo!
Which Sinners, it has all sorts of special effects in it. But really, if you want to distill it down to one scene, it's that beautiful levitational moment where past, present, and future all collapse into one sequence of pure bliss on the dance floor. And that's even before anyone dies or gets their blood sucked. It's absolutely beautiful and indicative of the care and attention that went into that film across the board in every category imaginable, but especially in the visual effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was on my list too, and it almost won. But as you like to spread the love around, I like to spread the love around. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil.
I'm going to skip ahead a few categories of my own to editing. And editing is one of those, in terms of appreciating what editing is, I always like to say that you make a movie 3 times, at least in the context of the movies I've made. You make it when you write it, you make it when you're on set directing, and then you make it all over again when you piece those clips together in a way that tells a story that will be picked up by the audience. And oh, that's you. I thought Kitty Cat was on her way up here.
Oh, no, I'm bouncing my leg, Wallace.
Leg.
I'm excited about the awards. You're keeping me in suspense. I want to know who you nominated for editing. Sorry.
And the best editing are the editing that I appreciate the most. It's not the flashy editing. It's the editing that pulls you into a story and you forget that the story was even touched by an editor. You're just carried through it from one shot to the next at a deliberate pace. And very often I'll revisit a film that I love so that I can kind of put on a different hat and notice the edits as it goes along. So these are the movies that, both kind of scratched my filmmaker itch, where I'm watching it and actively admiring the editing, but also I have watched them and just didn't notice the editing at all because I was just carried away. 2 of my nominees this year are documentaries, actually.
Ooh.
I went with Rick Chaubert, which my merci beaucoup if I mispronounce that name. I believe it's French, but he's the editor of Soundtrack to a Coup d'Etat, which I highly recommend. That it's a documentary about the intersection of activism and music in Africa in basically the 20th century. It covers a large swath of stuff that happened, and it does it really beautifully. The other documentary editor is Viridiana Lieberman of The Perfect Neighbor, which is kind of a grueling true crime, put you in the middle of a situation documentary about an incident of violence that very likely has like racist overtones to it. It's really sad, but it's also it's tense, and it says a lot without saying very much, which I think is both a result of the director and the script and all of that, but also very much a side effect of the quality editing that went into that film. And then for my narrative films that I nominated for Best Editing, there's Ron Bronstein and Josh Safdie from Marty Supreme, and Kelly Reichardt, the director of the Mastermind, who also edited it. But my winner is Andy Jurgensen of Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. That movie just sings.
Yes, it does.
Despite it being like 2.5 hours long, it moves at such a pace that I don't even notice. I don't notice how long that film is because I'm in it. I'm with those characters being propelled. And the scenes of it, like setting up characters, are just as taut and finely crafted as the action set pieces are.
Oh, yeah.
It is a Swiss watch of a film, and for many reasons, not just the editing, but the editing is a crucial part.
I definitely noticed it when I saw it because I remember I was very grumpy about watching that movie because, as I mentioned in the previous podcast, I hated the trailer. And then when I saw it was almost 3 hours long, I was like, absolutely not. I am not watching this movie. And then I watched it and I was like, holy cripes, this thing moves like lightning. And it was real cool. Which is why Andy Jurgensen also gets a nomination for me for
the Snotties.
For the Snotties, One Battle After Another. But I also have, actually, another person who was on your list, Kelly Reichardt, for The Mastermind. Another movie that I was a bit harumphy about and also moved like electric. It was wonderful. Different ones that you did not mention that I enjoyed. Joe Murphy for Weapons. Very similar to River City Stories. Like I said, I really appreciate the alternate uses of different scenes in the overlapping anthologies.
Yeah.
Like that was really, really, really masterful work that he did. Michael P. Shaver, who was the editor for Sinners. Very much so for the reason why you mentioned visual effects. I thought both the scene when they were meeting the spirits of the past to be beautifully put together, and when it was mirrored later in the film with the darker vampires, the soul crushers, the evil with just it was cool.
Yeah.
My winner in this category is actually Ben Leonberg, who not only edited but also directed the film Good Boy. And the reason why I have chosen him for this award is because he did not only create a masterful, spooky film and built very, very creepy ambiance, really kept me freaked out by the way that he mathematically cut that film, but he also had to craft a performance from his main actor who was a dog.
Yes.
And as somebody who has had to piecemeal performances together myself through editing, I can't even imagine the amount of work that had to go into putting together this fantastic performance from this dog. Because, sorry, Indy, but it's a dog.
And Indy was, by all accounts, a very good actor.
Very good actor. But crafting that together and making it coherent had to have been a colossal task.
And integrating the two different sets of actors.
Yeah.
And the special effects shots.
Yeah.
Like, special effects are there's the effect, there's either the physical or the digital effect that you're creating. But part of the effectiveness of your special effects is also the editing.
Yes.
How well they're integrated with the rest of the shot.
With the footage of your dog running away from something, you know.
Yeah.
And they say never to work with animals or children. Well, he built a whole film, and I edited again as somebody had to piecemeal a performance together with our cat. I have like 2 scenes of her in the short film that I made, and that was like very difficult to edit. So. Good boy, Ben. He also directed it. He also wrote it. He did a lot. He was So.
Next category, cinematography.
Ooh.
Which there are many ways to judge cinematography, and sometimes it can be difficult based on, because cinematography can mean many different things. It can, depending on the cinematographer that you're working with, and the director that you're working with, and the relationship that they have together. Cinematography can mean lighting. It can mean choice of lenses. It can even blur the line into editing for folks who love to do long takes, which create their own special, unique problems on set. So cinematography, it can be hard to piece out who was responsible for what. So with that caveat, because I wasn't on set on any of these films, but judging on the finished product, these are the movies that, judging on all the things that go into cinematography, I think these were the most striking to me personally as a consumer of films, and the ones that inspired the most awe in me, and asking, well, how did they do that, and how do I replicate that? So my nominees for cinematography are Autumn Durald Archipel from Sinners, Michael Bowman from One Battle After Another, Ranabir Das from All We Imagine as Light, which is a really underrated indie film from India, from an upstart director. Beautiful character study that didn't get as much attention as it should have, because it was in contention for Oscars, but then ultimately some of those nominations didn't materialize. If you have the time, check out All We Imagine Is Light. It's not just the cinematography either. It is beautifully shot on the streets in India, like in the city. And I'm blanking on what city it is, so I don't want to say the wrong thing. The cinematography is beautiful, but the sound design is also beautiful. The acting is beautiful. The score is beautiful. Check out All We Imagine Is Light. Anthony Dodd Mantle from 28 Years Later, the horror flick. I was in awe of some of the shots, and they even did something interesting with an array of iPhones that created a kind of poor man's bullet time effect. and periodically, when there is a kill involving these zombies, you will see in like an arc, you'll see what happens in like a very quick cut from one shot to one shot to one shot to one shot to one shot, literally freezing time in that moment. I thought that was such a cool effect that they achieved through a combination of cinematography and editing. But that array that they had was just really impressive. My winner in this category, though, is Jomo Frey, who is the cinematographer for Nickel Boys, the RaMell Ross film. And what is so impressive about Nickel Boys is that they created a whole new visual language in this film that we talked a little bit about on the last episode of the podcast, but a lot of it is shown through the point of view of the protagonist. And it doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel hokey. It literally puts you, the viewer, in the skin of this person. And it makes sense. It really does. it is both beautiful and functional, and it's not, there's no bullet time or anything like that. It's just a lot of choices being made and executed with real precision, and I respect that so much. That is such a beautiful film, not just because of the cinematography, but the lensing of that film certainly goes a long way.
I agree. I remember that was something that really, really drew me in when we saw it. That's another one that was kind of funny because it was like, Nickel Boys came out in... It was like, they dropped it for like 2... We talked about this,
Yeah.
They dropped it for like 2 seconds, and then we could see...
For me, it's a 2025 film because I saw it in February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool experience, that film. We have a little bit of overlap in our cinematography, actually. Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I cheated. I have a notes folder open.
Me too. So I've got Michael Bauman, One Battle After Another. Darius Kanji, who was the cinematographer for Eddington, one of my favorite films this year. Also Anthony Dodd Mantle, who did 28 Years Later. Larkin Seipel, I believe is... Sorry, Larkin, if that is not the correct... Seipel. Best
From
cinematography
Weapons.
for Weapons. And my winner this year was Autumn der Archipel, who worked on Sinners. Just because that movie is simultaneously warm, inviting, loving, and then horrifying. It really does a good job of welcoming you into the film and then scaring the pants off of you. So
and even on a shot by shot basis, there are just individual shots in that film that are, this is a cliche, but they're painterly.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful film.
So with Sinners, and this is why I nominated it as well, is it's giving you all of the things that you look for in cinematography. It is aesthetically quite beautiful, but it's also integrating all of this stuff, all the visual effects is integrated into the cinematography so seamlessly. It's beautiful.
It is fantastic, and I couldn't not give it to Sinners because I just love that movie.
Well, do you want to take the lead on the next category, supporting performances?
I sure can.
And you're following my model here.
Yes.
Unlike the Oscars, which separates them by gender, a couple years ago, I started just doing 10 nominees each for both supporting and for lead, irregardless of the gender of the actor, because honestly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Moving on.
You've just got to be equitable when you think about it. Like, I know that there's like the whole, well, that might mean it's gonna be all men. No, not when you have like people who are anyway. Yeah. But so I did pick 10 people proud and true. And for my supporting performance nominations, my first nomination is for a movie I just watched last night. So I'm actually quite glad that I saw it with you last night because I quite liked his performance, and it's Steve Buscemi in Psychotherapy playing a rather neurotic serial killer, which... That's just Steve Buscemi.
No. It's a little more subdued than we're used to from him, though.
Oh yeah, he was like...
It's a very much like a psychological portrait of this character.
He's like John Waters meets Mr. Rogers meets Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Like, it's like this interesting character that he's created.
And
very heavy on Mr. Rogers also.
And this is one of those opportunities to shine a light on a movie that hasn't really been seen by very many people. Like Psychotherapy, I think it just showed up on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And it was in a couple festivals last year and didn't get shown
And I don't know why.
Really, anywhere.
It was delightful.
And
I loved it.
It's an astonishingly good film that almost no one's talking about.
Yeah, there's so much going on in that movie, not least Steve Buscemi's very fantastic performance.
So, who else are your nominees?
Glenn Close in Wake Up Dead Men. To be honest, I'll just nominate her for anything because I love Glenn Close. Jamie Lee Curtis, The Last Showgirl, just for that dance scene alone. Benicio del Toro, One Battle After Another. Again, well, no, that's not true because I didn't nominate him for the Phoenician Sea. But most of the time I would nominate him because I think he's an incredible actor. Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor for Nickel Boys. Mark Hamill in Life of Chuck. That movie was pretty good, but I think his performance elevated it a bit. He's
the beating heart of the scenes that he's in that film.
Yeah, he really brought some a next level to it. So
and emotional,
yes.
Like a real emotional core.
Yeah. Paul Mescal in Hamnet playing my boy Billy Shakes.
Billy
Billy Shakes. Wunmi Masaku from Sinners, who was my absolute favorite character in that film. Tiana Taylor, One Battle After Another. Again, masterclass in being in only a few scenes, but also freaking killing it. My winner, very predictable as the horror nut that I am, but we had a very, very fantastic horror performance this year from Amy Madigan in Weapons, and she takes home the Snotty. I adore her performance. She is carrying the torch of a long line of just women who have played absolutely interesting but terrifying characters in horror movies who are getting the accolades that they deserve. I mentioned in the previous podcast, like Bette Davis and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Ruth Gordon in Rosemary's Baby, Kathy Bates in Misery. Amy Madigan just took a role that could have been your run-of-the-mill horror, ooky spooky character, and she just takes her way out into space where no man has gone before. And just, I could watch that movie again and just watch her.
Well, and I promise Josh and I have not done any coordination on our two lists, but there's an incredible amount of overlap.
I know
between our two lists, and especially considering I saw a lot more movies than you did.
Yeah,
like we have a lot of overlap. So I'm going to start with the overlapping ones. Glenn Close, Wake Up Dead Man, Jamie Lee Curtis, The Last Showgirl, Benicio del Toro, One Battle After Another, Aunjanue Ellis-Taylor, Nickel Boys, Wunmi Masaku, Sinners, and Tiana Taylor, One Battle After Another.
We had a lot of overlap. We had six overlapping people. That is interesting.
The ones that do not overlap between us, Nina Haas in Hedda. Nina Haas is a German actress. I've loved her in so many films that she's finally kind of crossing over into American films in the last decade, and she plays such a delicious foil in Hedda, which is the adaptation of the classic novel Hedda Gabler. I go check her out. She's on Amazon Prime in this movie. I think the movie deserved a bit more attention than it got, but such is life. In 2025, we tend to just toss movies on streaming services, and then if it lands, it lands, and if it doesn't, it disappears. Sean Penn, One Battle After Another, which is just a honkin' great character role.
Whoa, yes,
even the physicality of that performance is so impressive. It is, and is internally consistent with that character. The moment that Sean Penn shows up on scene, you know he's seen some shit. You know it because of his gait. that like weird dragging gait of his, you know this character has seen some shit. Stellan Skarsgård, which you haven't seen this movie, which is why it's not on your list. But in sentimental value, Gabriel said enough about this movie last time. I don't need to rehash it. But he is really, really wonderful and complex. He's not a one-note character. As a film director who's made some mistakes, we'll say, in the upbringing of his children, and is trying to make amends, kind of, but in ways that maybe aren't the best. And my winner is Amy Madigan.
Yay!
You said it well, but even, you know, there are real subtle gradations in that character too. Like on a surface level, it is one of the great like movie villainous characters, but she still finds all these kind of interesting grace notes. There's a whole world to this character, and in the film, you only get to see part of it. You can guess at. She's another character who's seen some shit.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to do this, but I would be okay if they did another movie, but based it just around that character.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that we need to know all of her backstory, but I know it's there. I can tell.
Even when she's first introduced, you're just like, what is going on? Is this just a very neurotic woman, or what is happening?
Yeah.
So it's delightful performance, just delightful.
So I'm not going to mention all the nominees for the next few categories, but it's worth kind of putting this out there. Best body of work, I tend to pick someone who's had multiple movies in a single year. Sometimes they're nominated in other categories, but more often than not, they actually aren't. Just because you only have so many slots to fill. But I like to give a nod to someone who's done really good, consistent work over multiple films. And for this year, it's one of my favorite Japanese directors, one of my favorite directors, period. But Kiyoshi Kurosawa, he is such a hardworking director. Like this isn't the first year that he's had multiple movies come out in the same year. But this year he did Chime and Cloud, two really great thrillers, and I would say Cloud like veers into action movie territory.
Oh, definitely.
Two very distinct with things to say about 2025, but they also just work as pieces of entertainment. I love both of those movies.
That's excellent. I have a feeling I will feel the same, but I didn't watch Chime because somebody watched it without me. No.
And I'm never going to hear the end of it.
No. But I agree. I quite liked Cloud, though, and I think that is a fantastic choice. Very similarly, a director that I have admired for the last few years. Had two releases this year, one as a director, one as a producer, and this was my opportunity to just be like, I just love you. And it's Ari Aster, who directed Eddington, one of my favorite films of the year, and then was also a producer on Bugonia, which was another one of my favorite films this year. So this was just my way to say, I like you, Ari. Thank you.
And next up, I'm going to go to the one that's new. This category is new to the Oscars, but it's also new to me. In years past, I've done the award for Best Ensemble, which Best Ensemble is a category for me that, the way I think about it, it's a group of actors who work really seamlessly together. And it's difficult to single any one of those actors out for plaudits because they work so well together. And actually, the film that won Best Ensemble Performance for me for 2025 is It Was Just an Accident, the Iranian film by Jafar Panahi. My new category is Best Casting, which is a little bit, I treat it a little bit differently. Best casting, while there are lots of great performances in the movie, this is more of an award for the process of finding the actors who filled that role, which is in itself an art form. You know, this, and it's an art form where lots of people are involved. You know, so there are the casting directors, but oftentimes the director of the film is heavily involved. And also, the producers are often heavily involved. And sometimes the studio executives who are also heavily involved.
So
it's you know, it's a complex category, and it's hard to single out like, oh, this is, you were responsible for this cast. But I in casting, I kind of think of like, this is a film that made a lot of very good choices with who they decided to bring into the cast. And for me this year, that award goes to Marty Supreme, the Josh Safdie film.
Oh, another one I haven't seen.
Has such wonderful casting. I mean, it's got a bunch of great actors like Timothée Chalamet and Gwyneth Paltrow, kind of leaning into her star persona in her role. Odessa A'zion, which she has been a working actor, but I wasn't familiar with her before this film. But like many of the Safdie brothers' previous movies, Marty Supreme has really wonderful, I hesitate to call it stunt casting, but it's casting of real people who aren't necessarily known for quote-unquote acting, but in roles that they are just perfect at. So I'm going to go through this list. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank as a wealthy industrialist who's kind of a windbag. Wonderful casting. Tyler, the Creator, is like a tennis shark, a table tennis shark. Pretty perfect. Abel Ferrara, the like iconoclast director, as an underworld criminal. He's freaking great. And even like Fran Drescher is...
I was excited to hear she was in it.
She's like Marty's hypochondriac mom.
Oh, man.
Great. It's a wonderful cast, and the actors all do wonderful work, but they're also just really perfect for the roles they inhabit.
Is it still playing at the cinema?
No. Well, maybe.
Now I want to check it out.
And part of the problem is you were in a bunch of theater shows.
Well,
and so that's part of the reason you didn't get out to see some of these movies.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to catch Marty Supreme if it's still over there, or once it comes on streaming. Martin Scorsese is going to be so angry at me.
So you introduced a new category that is different from mine.
I did too. It's different, but I think it kind of leans into the kind of stuff that I like about films. But it also has to do with casting in a way. So I will start off by doing what you did and mention my best ensemble, which was Wake Up Dead Man. Just such an interesting little group of people they put together for that movie, but all of them fantastic and funny and weird. I always have fun with the Knives Out movies. He's very creative.
He assembles some fantastic casts.
Oh, yeah.
And deep casts. And like interesting casts.
People that you don't normally see together. It's really cool. My new category that I'm going to do from now on with the Snotties is Best Cameo Appearance. Because I think that cameos, when done properly, can be very masterful. We had a lot of really good ones this year. I won't go through my whole list, but like Buddy Guy, who was in Sinners.
Yep.
Fantastic. It was a very bit part, but it was so cool to see him.
Yeah. I would almost argue that's a supporting performance.
But he doesn't show up until the very end.
The lines are a little blurry.
He's like in it for maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah.
My winner this year is somebody who sadly passed away. This was his last performance, and it's Tony Todd in Final Destination Bloodlines. Has an incredible monologue about the nature of death in Final Destination Bloodlines. And the thing that makes his performance even more powerful is that he knew he was dying when he performed this monologue. And it makes me cry just thinking about it, but he was fantastic. That movie, it's Final Destination. It's trash, but Tony Todd in that movie.
And Tony Todd, who is a legendary actor, known predominantly for horror films like Candyman.
Yes.
The original Candyman.
But he was in several of the Final Destination movies. Bringing him back as that character one more time to give this very poignant monologue was so cool. So rest in peace, Tony Todd, but also he wins my best cameo this year.
I'm going to move along to breakthrough performance.
Woohoo!
This is another one. This one is one of my newer categories. I started doing it like 5 or 6 years ago. But it's to recognize people who may or may not qualify for one of the other acting categories, but and breakthrough is a weird fungible word too, because some of these people, they might have been performing for a decade or more, but or they might have been famous for another type of thing that they did, which actually applies to 2 of my nominees this year. But this is the first time I've noticed them in a film acting. So breakthrough performance, my nominees are A$AP Rocky from Highest to Lowest, rapper, and he has acted a couple times, but this is the first big supporting role that he had. Susan Chardy from one of my favorite movies of the year, On Becoming a Guinea Fowl. Masaki Suda, who's a matinee idol, a singer in Japan for Cloud. SZA, the rapper and singer in One of Them Days, which I think is an underrated comedy. If you didn't get to see One of Them Days, just do it. It's such a blast of pure joy. But my winner is Chase Infinity, who is the star of One Battle After Another. Whenever she's on screen, she's the only person you're looking at. She's fun, but also a great actor, and she just tears into this role with gusto. I almost want there to be a sequel so we could follow more of this character's exploits.
I want to see what she's up to. I really love that character. So,
yeah. All right. What are your nominees and winner?
Well, she is on my list as well. Chase Infinity, One Battle After Another. And then I don't think we have any more carryover other than that. I have a Carrie Christopher from Weapons. Normally I find child actors insufferable, but this kid was so good in that film. Yeah. Aidan Delbus in Bugonia, who played Jesse Plemons' brother. As we mentioned in the previous podcast, this is his first time acting, and he is an actor, neurodivergent actor on the spectrum, playing a character on the spectrum. Really great performance from him, and I hope to see more of him. Another one for a movie that I just watched recently with you. I do have Ray Nicholson on my list for the film Borderline. I thought he was fun, creepy. He did channel quite a bit of his father, but the ending of the film really sold me on him selling that character on other levels. My winner for Best Breakthrough Performance of the Year is Indy.
The canine actor from Good Boy. Yeah.
He is
the best boy.
I know that I mentioned that the editing really put together a good performance, but this dog is such a good boy. Yeah. And his performance is probably the best animal performance I've ever seen in a movie. And I just like him. So, and the fact that he works so close with
his roses.
Yes, give him his roses, or just a treat. Just a treat. And
a scritch.
Yes, but I've never nominated or given an award to a dog before. I think this year is the year to do it. Indy for Good Boy.
Yeah. You get no arguments from me. So, moving on, lead performance. And just like with supporting, I have 10 nominees, irregardless of the gender of the actor. My nominees are Jessie Buckley, who is just freaking magical. She's working on another plane of existence in Hamnet. Timothy Chalamet, who is just a open nerve in Marty Supreme as this table tennis champion who, he makes some terrible choices, but it's freaking entertaining to watch. Ethan Hawke as down on his luck, music composer on in Broadway and Blue Moon. Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who, oh gosh, I don't even know how to describe Hard Truths. If you didn't get to see Hard Truths, go do it. It is among her best performances, and she is one of my favorite actors, period. Jennifer Lawrence, who, again, an open nerve of a performance, but also just really beautiful as well in Die My Love. Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone, twofer in Bugonia. Renata Renzve in Sentimental Value. Tessa Thompson in Hedda, which I talked about in the supporting category. And my winner is Mike. I didn't realize. Well, I'm not going to spoil it.
You already did.
Josh and I somehow we have the same winner in both lead and supporting category.
We do indeed.
Well, let's talk about our respective winner, and then you can go through the rest of
my
your
runner-ups. Yeah. Well, why did he win for you?
I mean, he's playing two. So we've seen this done before, where one actor plays twins, but he does it. It is just masterful. There's never, for the first hurdle, there's never any doubt which brother you're seeing on screen.
Yeah.
And they don't really their wardrobes are different, but everything about those characters is discrete. They are two different people with two different worldviews. The differences in subtle differences in the way that they carry themselves. And then, beyond just that level of difficulty of creating two characters instead of one, Michael B. Jordan also, he has a lot on his shoulders in Sinners. If he didn't do a good job, that movie would not be half of what it is. He is carrying a lot of that movie on his back. Both the emotional currents of playing two brothers, dealing with big stuff like, existing in, the South in the 1900s, and dealing with racism and all that, but also the action element of it that he's having to carry off, and the love interests, the romance. It's almost like Ryan Coogler was like, oh, let me throw everything that a movie could possibly throw at an actor. I'm going to throw it all at Michael B. Jordan in this role. And he makes it look easy, which is such a cliche, but he does. Michael B. Jordan, this is a movie star performance. We already knew Michael B. Jordan is a movie star. We've known it since Fruitvale Station. We've known it since The Wire, when he played Wallace in The Wire. But Michael B. Jordan, seriously, he's the inheritor of the hardest working man in the movies. I have nothing else to say. What do you say?
You covered a lot of it. I'll just mention that watching that film, I often forgot that I was even... I mean, this is what you want from any performance, but really, I often forgot that I was watching one actor playing two twin brothers and not two actual twin brothers playing twin brothers, because he just created such different characters that worked so well. He was simultaneously Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, and which is a kind of like a horror, but adding more, again, the romance element, the drama element of it, but he did play the horror as well. So not only is it a great horror performance, but it just has all these other depths to it. And one of the well, I don't want to spoil anything, but just he was a masterclass.
And like film. This, for example, the scene work that he does with Wunmi Mosaku, mm-hmm. really beautiful, romantic, complex emotions going on in that scene, and it is played so beautifully. I could pick out 15 different examples from this movie of ways that Michael B. Jordan just he carries it. He carries this film.
The scene I want to mention, I'm not going to because I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say it involves a doorway. And I fantastic. Right. My runners up, because we already, obviously, Michael B. Jordan won for Sinners, but I nominated Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl, Jessie Buckley again for Hamnet. I just love that movie. Another one that we have together, Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths. I also really love that movie and that performance. Here's a weird wild card, but I had to put it on here because Rowan Campbell in Silent Night, Deadly Night, he really rocked it. I wanted to put him in my breakthrough performance, but I was like, nah, he deserves it. I'll put him in with the leads. He did a great job in that film. Leah Myron for The Ugly Stepsister, who is just sad and creepy and Joaquin Phoenix in Eddington, because I love Joaquin Phoenix and I love it when he collaborates with Ari Aster. Jesse Plemons in Bugonia. Masuke Suda from Cloud, which you have mentioned. And then my last one is Robert Pattinson in Mickey 17 for similar reasons to Michael B. Jordan performances. That movie didn't make a lot of lists in my, big lists on my on my nominees, but I thought Robert Pattinson was quite good in playing just a guy who keeps coming back. And it's very sad.
And Robert Pattinson has really he might be one of my favorite young-ish actors working today, because he works with all these really talented auteurs, and he's always doing interesting things. Even just this year,
weird shit.
He's also very good in Lynn Ramsey's Die My Love,
which I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's more of a supporting performance, and that category was stacked already. But he's also very good in that film.
Excellent.
I'm going to do something a little unconventional, because I actually have a lot of overlap between. I have all overlap between director and picture this year.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go through picture and director, and also we walked through our favorite films of the year in the last podcast. I don't feel the need to rehash everything all over again. In some years, my director and picture category has some divergences, and the way I kind of think about that is there are some movies that that they're what makes them really great is one or two elements, and then there are other movies where you love them because of the technical prowess on display, and sometimes it's the script that makes the movie. Directing is a hard thing to judge unless you were there on set. So the best thing we can do is kind of make these guesses about, who was responsible for what. And sometimes when I watch a movie, it feels like the vision of one person, and that one person being the director. It feels like they've tipped the scales. And sometimes, in years when I've had like a director who was nominated but their movie wasn't, it's that I see that like it's a singular vision that made it to the screen, and I respect that. I respect what the director did. But that's not the case this year. So, the directors / pictures that were nominated both in director and picture for me are Ryan Coogler for Sinners, which we've talked a lot about. Respect. That is just a fantastic movie. It is both popcorn and emotional core. Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, which we actually didn't talk about much in this podcast, but we did talk a lot about it in the last one. So if you didn't watch it, watch our Best Movies of 2025 podcast, and we get into a whole thing about Jafar Panahi there. Kelly Reichardt, really a beautiful shaggy dog kind of film. The Mastermind, about a crook who just can't get his stuff together. A aspiring crook, mind you, who can't get his stuff together, and that is just such a. She has created a cottage industry of movies about like weird, deeply flawed people who are aspiring to be something that they may or may not be good at. And RaMell Ross, who Nickel Boys is just so beautiful. It is such a beautiful film, and again, he in tandem with Jim O'Fray, the cinematographer, RaMell Ross just invented a whole visual language that we don't. I've never seen a movie quite like Nickel Boys. My winner for both Best Director and the corresponding film and Best Picture is One Battle After Another. I've said enough about this movie. It's just great. And at this point, I've seen it 4 times. I imagine I will be watching this movie until my dying days, because I just love this movie.
Well,
yeah.
And you,
Onward.
You did win me over with that film. Similarly to you, I also, my directors and my best pictures are all the same films. So I'm going to do exactly
what I did.
Exactly what you just did, which makes it nice and simple.
Yeah.
So for Best Director, my nominees, I have Ari Aster for Eddington. Again, last podcast I talked about how much I freaking love that movie. You took the soundbite from it and put it on Instagram. I don't even talk about how much I liked Eddington because I really liked it.
Yeah.
Zach Cregger for Weapons. Just thought that was a very clever horror film, and his vision that he brought to it was.
I feel like Weapons kind of got the short shrift in my nominations this year, but in a bunch of different categories, it was like in position number 6.
Yeah.
Like it's in my honorable mention on a slew of categories.
It definitely, as well, yeah, the horror nerd, we've already talked about. Horror nerd, and that movie just kept me on the edge of my seat, but also it was a compelling story. So,
yeah.
And I just, again, I love River City horror stories. Weapons.
I think most people who listen or watch this podcast know about River City Stories, but that's the feature film project that I've been working on for a long time. That is similarly episodic. Weapons, it has 3 segments?
3 segments
that overlap with each other,
and they're all different stories.
As you move through, the connections just kind of build and build.
Yeah,
it's a very cool way to structure that film.
I can't wait to nominate River City Stories for my favorite ensemble
this
coming year.
You make me blush.
No, I'm so excited. My other is Kiyoshi Kurosawa for Cloud. I just really liked Cloud, and I love him. Chloe Zhao for Hamnet. I loved Hamlet. As mentioned on the previous podcast, I'm a Shakespeare nut, and I thought that was a very beautiful film about using the arts to process shit. But also get to see about what's going on in Billy Shakes' life. And my winner, the one overlap that I have with you is both for Best Picture and for Best Director, Ryan Coogler for Sinners, and Sinners won Best Picture. And again, we talked about it in the vampire episode. We talked about it in the previous episode. We talked about it in this episode. I don't need to go on some convoluted actor's journey about how
Sinners is just a great movie.
It was my favorite film this year.
If you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing. You must not have been breathing last year.
And I'm just so excited because last year my favorite movie, and I thought that was a really good movie, was a horror film. And this year, but it wasn't like in most years, it's like, oh, I like horror movies, but they're not the one that like all the critics and people are talking about. And these last 2 years, there are two big ones that everybody's talking about, because last year it was The Substance, and then this year is Sinners, and it just makes me so happy.
Horror is on the rise.
It's on the rise, and it's doing cool shit. So Sinners. Anyway.
I don't have anything to close out this episode with.
Oh.
But I thought of one thing. Do you have any anything that any resolutions, film-going resolutions for 2026?
Film-going resolutions?
Yeah, like what you want to do. So, like, for example, one thing that I'm doing is I set a goal for myself. I'm going to try to watch at least one film by a female director every week of this year, which I'm already doing pretty good at. I'm chugging right along on this goal, but I wanted to fill in a bunch of blind spots in my film history knowledge, and I also wanted to kind of expand my horizons a bit more. Not that I've done a bad job of watching the works of women directors, and a bunch of them are among my favorites of all time. But, like, for example, Lena Wertzmuller, the Italian director, I haven't seen any of her movies. And she was nominated for a bunch of Oscars in the 70s. So I'm kind of like, I'm going back, and I'm like, I need to fill in some gaps, and that's one way that I'm doing it is every week of 2026, different female director, every week going back and seeing a new movie by them.
Excellent. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not good at watching movies. I like watching movies, but I guess just a bigger overarching one is just to see more movies. But something that I am doing personally, two things actually, is I want to see more movies in the cinema, which that's an easier goal. In previous years, I did a pretty good job. It's just this past year I didn't, so I want to get back on that again. But also, as previously mentioned in the other podcast, I love this documentary called In Search of Darkness. And something that In Search of Darkness does is it highlights horror films from different decades, but they pay close attention to introducing American audiences to foreign horror films that maybe you might not have heard, like deep cuts. And I have made a list of those on Letterboxd, and it is my goal to see as many foreign horror films as I can this year, which I think I started. I'm not on the same trajectory with you, because I'm not like, but I just saw one Cut of the Dead recently. I watched Ugly Stepsister. I'm knocking out ones on my list every so often. So that's mine for this year. I think that, and just to see more movies in the cinema.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us on Cinema Double Shot. I always forget to do this, but if you like what you see, like, follow, subscribe, share, you know the drill, all of that stuff. And most importantly, be kind to each other.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
It's sleepy time. It's sleepy time.